Hi everyone, I'm Divya and this is Uplift, a show where you'll meet everyday women being everyday phenomenal. And my today's phenomenal guest is my closest friend Andrea, but we're gonna call her Andy. Hi Andy,
Hi, Divya.
welcome to my show.
Thank you. Thank you for
So
having me.
excited to have you.
I'm so excited to be here.
You're my fourth guest,
Okay.
so I'm very excited. And you're on the show here in person
Uh-huh.
because you're traveling from Toronto and you're here to see me. So I'm super excited. Otherwise, I think it would have taken a while for us to get there because I didn't want to do this with you over Zoom. Our chemistry is way too good in person.
Oh, okay. Well, cheers to that.
So usually I tell all of you how I meet my guests, but today it's going to be Andy who's going to tell us how she met me.
Okay, so Divya and I met in a little hamlet. It was called Kalamazoo, Michigan. We did our graduate study there, and she was a friend of a friend, so we had mutual friends in common. And now she's just become one of the most important people in my life. So that's how we met.
Yes, we did. And what I remember from our time, you're absolutely right. Um, I have seen you just grow and evolve into this really, really strong woman. I
Mhm.
think you were because of your mom and your family. You already are like a strong, or you come from a strong background. But I've seen you like evolve and really finding your personality, your characteristics, your traits. Like you have become like this person that I look up to and admire. And I think the word that comes to mind for me when I think about you is resilience. So Andy, you were just like so. You've been through a lot of good, some adversities, but just you've traveled so much. You've lived in multiple places, and you definitely bring a breadth of knowledge and just like experiences with you. So I'd love for you to share some of your experiences that you think have made you who you are today.
I mean, I think you pretty much captured everything. But yeah, I do come from a household of very strong women, my mother and my grandmother. But I left home pretty much, when I was about in my early 20s and I moved to the States. So it's been unplanned, but through a series of events, I've lived in many cities and it's been an experience, it's been a journey. All of it has been great, some of it has been challenging, but all of it has shaped me to who I am. Not just the experiences, but all the people that I've met and all the people who've embraced me. And I'm very fortunate that, just like you, I always have a home to go back to wherever I go, wherever I've lived. That is, I think my experience has been just a tremendous amount of love that people have given me, and the fact that I can just go back to any of those cities and have a warm welcome, and that's just been amazing.
Do you have any specific, like really impressionable things that were left behind with you and you still carry them that you refer to in your daily life because there's things that you've learned, things that were new cultures to go through? Are there things that come to mind that you would like to share?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, the biggest thing has been change, because every few years, within a 2 year span, my life changes. It's a new city, it's a new adventure, new home, setting up different, embracing different cultures, different communities, even if it's within the same country, things change. So the singular lesson that I take with me is change. And initially, it was challenging. I resisted it a lot, but now I just wade into the change. I embrace it. I learned that change is the only constant thing in life, and so no matter what I face, that is the thing that I remember, that this too shall pass. I've passed through a lot of things, and this is another change in life. So that's what I take.
So you now are in the eighth city, which most people don't even go to eight cities to travel. This is your eighth city that you live in,
Yeah.
and you live in Canada now, Toronto,
Mhm.
which I've heard it's a beautiful city. I need to make a trip out there.
You do.
What are the differences in just from a cultural point of view? Because one of the things that I want to highlight is for immigrants, it is such a big deal to you're not only leaving everything behind, but you also have to learn everything anew. And a lot of good things, but not everything is rosy at all times. And for a lot of immigrants, it comes with a lot of like a bed of thorns as well.
Yeah.
So just from a cultural point of view, how do you see you growing up in India, you living in the US for a very long time, and now Canada? Like, and where do you see yourself fitting in best?
So I grew up in God's own country, and that's Kerala. And I was very, very lucky because I had a lot of multicultural friends. People in Kerala think that, usually everyone speaks English and Malayalam, but I grew up with friends who spoke Gujarati,
That's me.
Hindi, Punjabi, all these different languages. But even then, I was in a very insulated bubble. So when I went to Bangalore, that was the first experience of this culture shock. Also realizing that there's so many different cultures.
Even within India.
Even within India, that was a big shock. I didn't expect that, because you live in a city, you think that the whole country is the same.
Yeah.
The food is the same, and then you go to Bangalore, and it's like, oh my God, there's sambar. Sorry, that's art. It's like, that's different.
Please look it up.
Look it up. Even that's different, you know, like how you make it at home versus how they make it there in a hostel. So in India, it was just like, I think every day was a new experience, whether it was food, language, people, a place. It's just amazing, and it really prepared me for for the years to come, and the countries to come, and the places to come. So it's not easy. You have to be able to you have to give yourself time to adapt. And with me, the first few years, I was just very I plowed through a lot of places. I just was making friends, experiencing everything. I never gave myself enough time to kind of sit in a moment, or just take a walk in a park, and a beach.
Was it circumstantial, like it was you had to do it, or because you wanted to like experience more things and you were like going out there and doing it?
I wanted to experience everything, and then with experiencing everything, you don't have time to remember a lot. So a lot of the early memories of mine are just like they're great memories, but it's a lot of it is a blur. I look through pictures to remember stuff. I look through and we didn't have Facebook and stuff back then, so I looked through a lot of like hard copy pictures to remember it. But I had to. But then with time, with like you said, not everything is rosy. You meet some really interesting characters. You learn to judge for yourself, like who you want to bring into your life. Not just, I'm not talking like a romantic relationship, I'm talking even friends. Sometimes there's a reason why there are all those sayings like people come into your life for a reason or a season, because some people just will let you know what is important to you. Like in the experiences that they teach you is that not everyone, even though they might have the best intentions, not everyone is healthy to keep in your life. So I've learned to like balance that out. Like the people who come into my life, the experiences that I do, I'm not trying to do everything at the same time. So that's kind of what I've learned, and I take that with me now and share it with like my younger nieces.
They're so cute. What is it? So in each of these countries and each of these cities, what has made you feel? Because some have been shorter amounts of time, some have been longer. What have you done, or what has made you feel like I can, in that moment, I can call it home? Do you do something to make it that way, or is it like just like basically experiences that happen and it's like, oh yeah, like I can see myself being like belonging or being a part of this little city?
So it's gonna sound really funny or even very trivial, but when I find my grocery store, that's when I know I'm home. I swear, it's like it's honestly like when
That
I'm
is so true.
it's like when I find my grocery store, it's like, oh, I'm home. It's happened in every city that I've lived in. Even in Bangalore, when I was a kid, when I was in
Mm.
college, I remember it was some little thing in Koramangala, but I was like, oh, now I know where I can go get all the stuff that I want. So it's every time I found my grocery store, it didn't have to be close to my house, but things that I'm a checklist kind of a person.
Okay.
So if I can go into a place and get everything that I need in a checklist
Yeah.
on my list in one place, or at least, most of what I can get, then I know I'm home. And there's a few places that I've not found my grocery store. And so I've like told the universe it's time, like even though I'd stayed there, but I was like, you got to get me out of here fast. I'm
Yeah.
not going to tell you where, but I've had a few places I've not found it.
Okay. Tell me, so just for the community here, um, what what are some of the things that you would follow, like tactically, either on social media or type of like communities you look for? Because a lot of people go, like I moved to DC, I didn't know anybody. How do you find that you think that you can find compatible people? I know you have to like go through multiple
Mm-hmm.
groups and multiple things to really know and click with people,
Mm-hmm.
which is what happened with me as well in multiple places. So, are there specific things that you go to that you know that, hey, I know that I'm going to meet like minded people here?
Yeah. It's very interesting that you're actually doing women, everyday phenomenal, everyday women. So for me, the most important thing that I I look for is strong women, and becoming friends with them. Not necessarily, becoming like best friends, but at least like asking them questions. Trustworthy women. So that is something that I do when I move into a place. I've used different platforms like Meetup, or I've in Canada, in Toronto, a fellow colleague told me that Internations is very similar. So we don't have to get into what they are, but
Sure.
they're like online portals. You go and you find events that you want to go to, and
Yeah.
so I always look for women brunches, women walks, all events like farmers market, and a lot of women love to do all those things. Not that that's the only things that I do, but I do know that I will find women through that. And then also women that I work with,
Yeah.
or my neighbors. Not always neighbors, but it has happened. In big cities, not too often, but in the smaller suburban areas, neighbors have been very helpful. So I'm not saying it's what everyone should do, but
Sure.
it works for me. So I find, that you go out socially, and then through that you build your network, and you build your your comfort level, and you know who you want to go out with, who you want to um, socialize with. But I've also, in maybe the last 5 to 6 years, liked to be a little bit on my own too. It's not always necessary to go out there and just find a community immediately. Like I said, now I learned to enjoy the process. So I organically meet people, and um, I don't know if you want to know the story, but one of my closest friends in Toronto right now was a girl who I met. Well, not a girl, sorry, a lady, a woman who I met while I was apartment hunting in the middle of dead winter. We both had stopped in front of a hot dog cart, freezing our asses off. And she stopped me, and she asked me, oh, hey, what are you doing? And we call each other our hot dog friends, and to this day we're like the thickest of pals. She randomly started talking to me, and I didn't expect to have her friendship, but I do.
Yeah.
So it was, I didn't know anyone at that
Mhm.
point in that city.
My, I think one of the stories that comes to mind is I had just moved to DC from New Orleans, and I was obviously sad about leaving New Orleans. You heard me saying this in my first episode. And I was like, for the first year, I didn't really do anything. I was not social. I was not going out anywhere. I was just sad about leaving New Orleans and also working. So didn't really.
Also, you had me.
And you were here.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like Andy's here. I'm working. I'm okay. And then as it turned out, she moved to Canada, and she was, in the preparation of going, and she knew how sad I was gonna be and how like low and depressed I was gonna be, and she like pushed me to go out and find like a meetup group, a social group, to just kind of go, and even if it's like chatting and never really making friends out of it, she's like, you have to like go and do that. And you did that to me, and I went begrudgingly because I just didn't, I was not ready, but you did that because you knew that I needed that at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you had not left, you knew that I would need that as soon as you left.
Yeah.
And you basically had that that super like supportive moment where I did go out. The first one I went out to was not, it was not the greatest. But the next time I went, it was the craft cocktails group that I met, and all of my friends in DC have been because of that. So that's because of what you did for me. So do you want to share some fun facts about you?
So
outside of like that we fight a lot.
So fun facts about me. I love to travel around a lot, not just move cities, but I love to travel.
Mm-hmm.
And my travel is quite interesting, but I actually ran in unexpectedly. I was traveling for work, and I knew you were flying to see your family in San Diego. So I knew you were traveling the same day, so I called you when I landed.
Was it going to San Diego or coming back to DC? One of them.
One of them. It was one of the
route.
One. So I called you, and I was like, hey, I have a stopover, and you're like, I have a stopover too. I'm in Denver, and I'm like, Denver, Colorado, and you're like, yeah, and I'm like, in the airport, and you said yes, and we ended up actually running into each other in the same terminal, not just the same airport, but in the same terminal. So that's something like a lot of
that was so random and so much fun.
Yeah, I have a lot of those random moments with people, so that's something that's fun. What else fun?
I know one thing.
What?
How creative you are.
Oh, okay. Oh well. Yeah, I like to. I'd like to repurpose things. One is because I don't feel connected with a lot of the new stuff that we see in stores. I'm talking about like decor and furniture. So stuff that I can get sanitized easily. Like I wouldn't do mattresses or a couch or anything, but especially like chairs and tables or
desks or
paintings, or lamps.
That's true. Your bicycle lamp, I still remember.
My bicycle lamp. So I love to know the history. Someone's owned it, someone's used it. It's still so, it's got so many years of use in it. And I love to be able to bring it back to life. I think we're such a consumer driven society that I like to do a little bit to kind of like repurpose and reuse. So
is it because of your need to just like save things and like savor them and make sure that, or is it like the story of a piece that you're bringing to life? Like, what is it about the repurposing?
I think it's both. I also like, I didn't know I had that creative side in me. I didn't know that I could look at something like a rusty bicycle lamp that was just sitting in this old brownstone home in DC of, it was an estate sale of this lady who moved from Japan to the States, maybe in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And her house was just this eclectic collection of things from all over the world. And I happened to pick these two bicycle lamps that didn't have shades, didn't have anything. They were rusty, they
Yeah.
no color. And then I was like, as soon as I grabbed it, somebody else came for it. I was like, oh, I had my
It's
hand.
mine.
Yeah. And I was able to decide the colors and what to do with it. I haven't done it, I haven't explored it quite a bit, more than what I did for that one house. I'm doing it now for my house in Toronto, but it's everything. It's the fact that I get to have a connection with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I get to repurpose something, and also because I want to see what I can do with it.
Yeah.
You know, so then it's mine.
Gotcha. Okay. So going back to the upliftment part of it, what is the one thing that, or a tip that you would want to share with my viewers and listeners here, to uplift people around you? Is it something that you do, or something that you want to do and you want to share it with everyone?
Well, that's a quite a loaded question, because you know, for me, upliftment means uh, not not just other people but yourself. It's been a hard journey to come to this lesson. Like, it's been really hard. Um, but uplifting yourself will automatically uplift other people around you, because if you're not a happy person, you really, you can fake happiness, you can fake being, you know, happy and social, but if you're really not a happy person, you're just outwardly, you know, you've got a mask on. So to me, the tip that I find about upliftment is it's look inward. You know, look at yourself, um, and that's what I've been doing. It's just like seeing what what can I do to improve myself, and by that, how will somebody else benefit from that?
Mm-hmm.
So the tip is enjoy as much as you can. You know, every situation that you're in, you don't have to look for the, you know, the greater good. Just enjoy it, but then also, like, you know, carve out a little bit of time for like self reflection, and then automatically, you know, just that you'll start reaching out, people will start reaching out to you, and you know, that's the little tip that I have. I wish
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
That's a great tip. That is the one thing that I'm definitely going to take away.
Okay.
What is next in Andrea's journey?
Oh my goodness, my journey. I hope it's not another city.
You're good. You're going to stay put for a while.
For a while. But my journey is going to be more of prioritizing things that are important to me, which is my health, my growth as a person, as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I really, I work in IT, and what I am very passionate about is seeing more women grow in IT. And I've had the good fortune to work with multiple levels. I don't know if that's let's call it different people, like from different backgrounds, organizational structures, and often I don't see a lot of young girls coming into IT. Okay.
Go.
So like I would love to be able to do something, you know, that opens up avenues for young kids, for young girls. I don't want to discriminate. I don't, you know, all you know, all the boys can come in as well.
I don't think you're discriminating. I think, if anything, you're including.
Yeah,
right, because we all clearly see that there is a disconnect there.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to close that gap.
Yeah.
So including and, you know, diversifying the people you know and people you bring into the fold, I think that's great.
Yeah, so that's something that I want to see more, like excitement to be part of our world.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's it.
Okay, so the one thing that I'm going to take away from today's conversation, actually, there's more than one thing. Well, one thing. So one of them is the last thing that you said about looking inward and finding your peace and happiness, and that automatically creates that ripple effect of if you have that positive approach, or like aura, I don't want to use the word aura, but there's just like a positive vibe, automatically people feel happy around you, and it's just that social effect, right? So that's one thing that I'm going to take away, and I'm going to work on it. The other thing is like, I'm going to think about what is it that makes me feel like home in a new city, because I've changed a few cities as well. Not as many as you, but I have. Grocery one is actually great, because I was like, yeah, that kind of totally makes sense. But I'm going to think about what is that one thing that makes me feel like home. And then the other one is again like going to your theme about looking inward, where you said, if there are people around you, and through their actions or the experiences that you both have, you don't think that not everybody needs to be in your life at all times, and compartmentalizing, but also choosing yourself first, than like bringing other people in, is so incredibly like important. And I feel like you don't think about a nuance like that in your everyday life, and I really like, I feel like I should like take that away from you and actually work on it.
Well, I'll share it. I'll share it with you.
Please share it with me. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Andy's going to be back because she's going to be bringing a guest on the show. She's going to be bringing me, apparently, because she wants to interview me and wants you to get to know me better.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to do that in July. And we're just going to talk about more things, and how we share a connection, and just talk a little bit more about our friendship.
Absolutely.
And we've been friends for over 10 years now, I think.
Yeah, a little bit more.
A little bit.
Oh, no, actually 12.
12 years now?
Yeah.
Something like that.
13.
Lost count. So,
It's actually 13.
13. Just coffee. Just
13.
coffee. This is not spiked.
She's lying.
Thank you so much for watching. And
thank you for having me. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also comment on this video and let me know your thoughts. Tell me other things that you want to see. And if you want to be on my show, my email ID is in the description. Please reach out to me and we'll work on something. Thank you so much. I will see you all later. Thank you. Bye.